One of the things I think we have to do in this hyper-mobile culture is create some holy habits. And one of those for me and for our community is this idea of Sabbath or of rest. And if you look at progress, we don't always end up being happier people as this progress continues. You know, you look in some of the richest corners of our world, and we have the highest rates of loneliness, depression, and suicide. We're the richest, busiest people in the world and some of the loneliest. So I think we've got to rediscover some of those ancient habits in the scripture. Like if only we rediscovered some of those practices today, I think we would be healthier people.
Well, here are the audience results on that idea of taking a day of rest every week. Just about split right down the middle. So the conversation continues online. Tell us what you think about the idea of taking a rest for one day of a week. Well, our next guest is looking at peace of mind in a rather radical way. We're looking for peace of mind in a world of noise. Could walking be one way to peace? Our next guest thinks so. Arthur Boers walked 800 kilometers in a pilgrimage. One of his books is The Way is Made by Walking. Arthur Boers is a professor of theology at Tyndale Seminary. Thank you very much for being here, Arthur.
Thank you, Lorna.
Really? 800 kilometers?
800 kilometers, yeah.
Okay. What did you experience about rest in such a long walk?
Well, I really got to the hike or to the pilgrimage because here in Ontario I started hiking the Bruce Trail. And I would take a day or a few days to hike the Bruce Trail. And while I was hiking it, I made amazing discoveries. And I started really as a middle-aged man. I'd never liked sports as a young man. In phys ed, I dropped phys ed in high school as soon as I could, and as soon as it wasn't required. And then as a middle-aged man, I started hiking the Bruce Trail really as kind of a challenge. And I'm not sure why other than that. But I discovered it was a spiritual experience, that as I walked along these paths on these beautiful natural routes, that it was a time to kind of come away, step away from my life, reevaluate my life, think about what had gone off kilter in my life, and commit myself to reorienting my life appropriately.
The Camino that you walked,
right.
The 800-kilometer pilgrimage, it is meant to be a connection with God.
That's
what
right.
did you experience about rest with God? Because it's also very exhausting.
Right, it was tiring and got some serious blisters and ended up in the hospital with them at one point. But the thing is that it's an opportunity to come away from life as usual and to pray and to reflect and to think through one's life. And there are also a number of other pilgrims who walk along the path. And so we compare notes. And one of the interesting things is this path is very popular right now. And most people who walk it are not professing Christians, but they're reevaluating their lives. There's a spiritual hunger and a spiritual search. And many of the conversations I had, people talked about a dissatisfaction with how busy their lives are, how they weren't living according to their deepest values, they weren't spending time with loved ones. And so the path became a place of reevaluation. And I think it was something about coming away from normal life, regular life, having all that time away, and being in the vast beauty of God's creation with other people who are earnestly seeking, that really provided a lot of refreshment.
It just isn't practical for everyone to go off on a hike on the Bruce Trail or whatever. Are there other practices we can do to engage this idea of resting our harried souls?
I think one of the most important things and one of the most endangered practices in our culture is reclaiming the joy of eating together, having meals together. Having meals.
Some people will say that's instant stress. You don't know my family.
Well, there are ways to make it less stressful. I don't know what's stressful about meals in your household, and I won't go there right now, but there are ways of making meals less stressful. But the statistics are showing that in North America, people are eating meals together less and less. People are eating meals on their own, even if they're in the same household. They grab their own food and go to the microwave and nuke it whenever it's convenient. More and more people eat meals in their cars. Some statistics suggest that some North Americans eat as many as 2/5 of their meals in their cars. We know that food is being designed to be consumed in cars, and we know that cars are being designed so we eat food within them. And eating food together is one of the most basic practices that connects us with other people, connects us with God, connects us with creation, connects us with gratitude.
What are some warning signs that our life is out of balance and we need to do something radical, either eating together, walking, this day of rest we've been talking about? What are warning signs that we need it?
I think part of the problem is that we get so caught up in our lives and the momentum of our lives, and we get so caught up with technology that there might be warning signs and we're not even aware of it. So we might be having health problems or stress problems, but we don't even notice it because we just carry on. And that's one of the reasons why something like a pilgrimage or a meal or worship or rest or a time of prayer is so important, because that's a time when God maybe can get a word in edgewise.
Arthur Boer, thank you very much. And your new book's coming out in January. We will look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's time to find out what you think. Is it realistic to set aside one day each week for rest? Send us your answers by phone, email, Facebook, or Twitter, or leave us a video message at our website. We'd love to know what you think. Be part of the conversation. Our studio audience is taking a live vote. We'll have those results when we come back.